You are watching conflict transformed into ritual. Every day, this exquisitely choreographed ballet is played out at the border between India and Pakistan. But the ongoing enmity between the two countries has very real consequences. There are strict restrictions on movement. All trucks have to be offloaded at the border. Twice as much trade goes via Dubai than across the land border here between Pakistan and India. It is just too much trouble to trade direct. Economists say if it was made easier, there could be as much as 10 times the business between the two countries.
Whilst, as Justin says, physical trade between Pakistan and India might be limited, there is a free-flowing cultural exchange between them, most notably Bollywood. Despite past attempts to ban Indian films here, they've always been hugely popular. And many, like this one, now feature Pakistani actors and Pakistani musicians. But a love of Bollywood doesn't mean a love of India. Many here believe India is trying to sabotage Pakistan.
Most of the Pakistanis like Indian movies because they are good quality and have the best plots. But they think of India as their enemy. This is just for entertainment. Otherwise, the attitude of Pakistanis is always against India. These films cannot change that attitude.
This is Bollywood Live. All the best scenes, dances and songs packaged up as a theatrical extravaganza. Bollywood has traditionally been pretty much blind to religion. Despite India's large Hindu majority, some of the most popular stars are Muslims, even Pakistanis, but that is changing. There were calls for a ban on Pakistani actors after a militant attack on an army base in Indian-administered Kashmir last year. India was founded on secular principles with protection for religious minorities, but many fear that India's secular tradition is now under threat. That's something the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi denies. But Mr. Modi is a Hindu nationalist, and under his government, tensions have been growing between communities, heightened by a series of murders of Muslims by Hindus.
There is some attack on Muslims happening every day in India. The only option for us Muslims now is to pick up arms. We will fight with whatever we have. We will use stones to attack. But we won't keep quiet anymore. We will fight to survive, or we will die here.
If they want us to leave India, then that is not possible. We will continue to live here. We are born here, and it is our right.
This isn't something you see every day in Pakistan. Today, over 60 Hindu couples are getting married in a mass ceremony in the southern province of Sindh. Most Hindus left Pakistan during partition, worried about how they would be treated in a Muslim-dominated country. But there are still around 2 million living here. Today is a day for celebrations, lots of celebrations. But until recently, Hindu marriages like these were not legally recognized in Pakistan. And many in the community complain they face discrimination. As a result, over the years following partition, thousands more Hindus have left Pakistan, many heading to India.
Around 8 to 10 people leave every week from the areas around me. More used to go in the past. My relatives left in 1991 after there was communal violence.
So 70 years on, and the communal tensions that drove partition are still very much alive in both India and Pakistan. So what hope is there of that changing? Let's do a show of hands. So how many people think there will be a solution between India and Pakistan? There will be peace? That's considerably more than half. And why is there such a conflict, do you think?
I'm going to be honest. Pakistan is a puppet democracy. The real power is in the hands of the army. The democracy has nothing to do with the terrorism and all this. So the army promotes terrorism. This leads to the death of so many people in India.
1940 के बाद जो है वो Crips
Pakistani pupils are taught that the country was created under the two-nation theory, that Muslims and Hindus are separate peoples who need separate homelands.
What's your understanding of why Pakistan was created?
There was nothing common between Hindus and Muslims other than the fact they shared a land. There was a lot of difference between the two, religion-wise, creed-wise, their values, their culture, so that was why a new country was needed to get their rights and to succeed.
What do you think could be done to improve the relationship between India and Pakistan?
If our politicians stop bashing India just to get votes, that can help improving relations. If cricket matches are allowed to continue between the country, I'm not sure about politics, but that will help improve relations and decrease the hatred between the ordinary people on both sides.
Ultimately, this is really just a story about feuding families, because so much more unites India and Pakistan than divides them. Like, for example, the food.
The problem is that there are some in both countries who believe it's in their political interest to continue the hostilities. After all, there's nothing like an external enemy to keep a country united. So at the moment, it seems there is no sign of the relationship improving.